Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the SZR Summer Racing Series out on Zwift. Riders today are going to be doing the Watopia Figure 8 course. So it's going to be a fast and furious race today, 18.5 or miles or 29.8 kilometers, one lap, Watopia Figure 8. Real quick into the race information as we get right into the racing with the front end of the racing field here. We can jump right within with them as they are got started, and we can grab the front end of the A's as we do have Kayland here, but we'll go over some race information as we join the front end of the race. We do have the C and D coverage as well as the A coverage today. We had a little hiccup yesterday, if you guys didn't notice, during the broadcast of the KISS EU race, but it was a blessing in disguise as it helped us find something that was keeping us from being able to cover a few of the races at once. So we have some great coverage then today because of that in the A, B category and C, D category together. But for the race rules in the SZR Summer Race Series, they are you have to have SZR in your name, obviously. If you do have a team, as you can see for T. Kayland here, Mr. Tom Kayland, put KRT or your Vision or your TFC or whatever your team may be in those brackets like that, but SZR must be in your name and your category along with that A, B, C, or D, as this is a mass start race. As you can see, they all started together. They do not start in separate categories. Power-ups are disabled for this event, so no power-ups are allowed in this event. No TT bikes either. This is a full-on try to be like in real life race as much as possible in this game. It is a no gamified, no RNG, random numbers games are going to be played with grabbing power-ups today or rolling those dice. Heart monitors are compulsory for A and B riders. A little bit different rule there and a little bit stricter, which is good for the racing to be as realistic again as possible. Power Meter Start Trainer winners take category wins. Z-Power racers will not be available to take podiums. Again, not a little different than the KISS situation, and a lot of people that join in on this, one of the most popular races out on Zwift here as well, definitely seem to like that. And it's just a little different flavor for a different day. Kayla now with an attack out of the underwater tunnel here as the action starts to heat up a little bit. The initial break had been made for the ABs here, but now this is one of the first attacks that we're really seeing here off the front before they even hit the reverse Watopia climb today. Out on course for the Watopia Figure 8, they will be heading through Ocean Boulevard and then the reverse Watopia climb down the other side, take a left-hand turn through the Esses then, and then be back toward Ocean Boulevard and then over the forward Watopia climb toward the finish to the Esses with the regular finish for a Watopia forward lap at that point. So you cover all of the bases when it comes to the Watopia original course is what the Figure 8 does. So does it look like the attack there from Kayland, though, did put a few on notice here as Adrian Timmish is the last one to jump onto the back here for Caden Sports, but O'Malley then there working his way to the back, but it does look like there's definitely a group that's starting to form here of it looks to be about 11 riders or so going off the front, and it will be the chase group now with E.G. Pan as well as Eggpan as well as Kowland, Nordstrom, Rugran, Turkus, and then it looks like Ebeling there. One just barely hanging out, it looks like, as he just closed that gap there with Graham as well, Patrick, and a couple of others. Team Audi, Fitzpatrick here, Kerry also in there coming out of the US of A. So this is the main chase group. They still have that lead group within their sights, but at the same time, how much effort do they want to put out there before the main climb out on course that is going to be the place where things are going to get separated out? So it does look like Kayland not playing any kind of tactics at this point, just making the race hard. 5.5 watts per kilogram at the front to make sure that this continues to go out. Categories are as usual. A category is that 4 watts per kilogram or higher for your functional threshold power. If you haven't done a race before, it's pretty much the same across the board. A category, 4.0 watts per kilogram or higher. So if you can hold that when you're joining the event to get into a race, jump into an A category. if as far as FTP goes, your functional threshold power. The B category, 3.2, 4.0, C, 2.5 to 3.2, and D category is 2.5 or less. And so if you don't know your functional threshold power, make sure to get that test in or get an idea of it by looking through some of the power data that you've produced in Zwift. And if you haven't done any kind of Zwift high intensity rides at all, maybe jump into a workout. They do have an FTP test. Definitely prepare for that. This is one of the hardest efforts you will do on a bike. Or if you just jump into a race and it pushes you to your limit, a lot of times you can get a good idea of where you stand. So sometimes you might just have to guesstimate and jump into a race to see how it would go. I do have the social media integration up here today, so for those that would like to interact, you can do so through Twitter as well as Facebook. We have both of those up, so if you have questions that you would like to be answered, we can bring them right on into the broadcast. I also do have the Twitch feed up over on Zwift Community Live, as well as Mixer and YouTube. We do have all of those places. I am going to get them connected though too. We're working on getting all of them connected. We have a newer feature outside of the ability to check in with the other race feeds, as we will check out what's happening with the C and the Ds in just a moment here, as these boys take a right-hand turn toward the Watopia reverse climb. But we also are going to be connecting all the chats between all of the streaming platforms. Facebook will still have its own integrations, but we will at least be able to connect all the chats. So a new cool feature there as well. It looks like then in the C category here, we do have, it looks like the leader is going to be Kay Garda here, working his way around the track with BJ Alfonso right on his wheel. Garda with a solid 4.0 watts per kilogram, though 4.2, 4.5 looks fairly steady there, 170 beats per minute, and perhaps, well, now dropping under to that 2.2 or so. So maybe just a little bit of attack there from him, as him and Yadderfeld as well as VJ Alfonso make their way into that right-hand turns. Current leader in the C category. We do have, it looks like, B Frick as well as Team ODZ rider Brett E there. W. Jones, B. Schneider here leading out some of the D category riders, though, as well, as they make their way toward the reverse Watopia climb as well. So this is the leaders in this D category. Maybe focus in on them a little bit more today than usual, as they don't get a whole lot of love a lot of times, and so we'll make sure to be covering them, as well as I want to start looking at some of their past race results from ZwiftPower.com. Really, a great community resource. So you want to jump on over there and see what the live results are. You can do so by heading over to ZwiftPower.com, clicking on the SZR Race Series, Race Summer Series today. It's right on the list there of all the events will be right in front of you, and it says SZR Summer Races. And from there, you can see in the live results, as the riders go through around the track, who they are and where their positions were at the last checkpoint. And then after that, you can even see what, if you click on their actual link to their name, you can actually see where they have placed in all of the races, all the events, as far as a ton of other telemetry that's been brought into ZwiftPower.com from Zwift, actually, about all of their past events and performances out on Zwift. Not individual ones, but any events that they did join into. All right, so MZR here, now hammering away out of Poland. In that Ingamba kit here that they've adopted for Team Poland here, looking over his shoulder, he did have a little bit of a gap there. 5.1 watts per kilogram, 178 beats per minute here. Fabrovsky now out of Russia trying to follow up there with McCormick. Out of Great Britain with L. James following up right behind him. Looks like Runberg there as well. This is all A category racing here. Kane Sports, now Timus, now just following 159, 158. Looking fairly comfortable, not wanting to do too much at this point. I think he... what is the max heart rate for Timus? I think he goes into the 160s, 170s. Maybe it is a fairly high heart rate for him. I'll have to find out as soon as the power does update. we'll be able to get that information. But I think Timus and Kaylin here, some of the favorites at the front of the race right now for sure. Both of them I've been commenting on for a long time. Gio Malley again too here tends to be in amongst the strongmen at the front ends of these races. A few of these racers I'm unfamiliar there with L. James here out of Great Britain, as well as I know Runberg from the SZR there is there as well. So maybe one to be watching out for when things start to speed up. 182 though, it might be a hard day to hang on if he is really getting maxed out. So going to be all about hanging on, reserving that energy at this point. As Kalen's starting to make his way to the front, the mountain biker coming out of Norway here. He's actually an endurance mountain biker. Has been competed, I believe, in some top level results on 12 and 24-hour events, actually. So good to see Kaylin always showing up. And 7.6 watts per kilogram. Here comes the kick on the other end of this climb, making sure that those riders that did go off in front for a moment there don't get away. So it looks like we're having a little trouble with the update right now over at zwiftpower.com, so we'll have to wait up for that. As soon as it does come through, we'll start looking at some of the past results from the riders here. And for some reason, our social media integration doesn't seem to be coming in, I believe. We'll see if we can... there we go. So we do have it there over at the face of the book. So make sure that we get all of the... just want to make sure we get all the interaction correct. I'm going to just give a little chat here to Mr. Jonathan Noblet. Just to make sure that we're getting everything right there in the background. Looks like he does have it. Okay, cool. So we are seeing then, it looks like in the B category, the riders here are going to be B. Schneider still at the front end in the D category and the C category, making their way up over the top of the initial climb on the Watopia reverse right now. So B. Schneider along with Jobling, Jones, and then Havmuller here at the front of the C's. Then it still will be Garda, who has about 22 seconds over the rest of the riders. I'm going to have to wait and see what is going on with past results for the rider here. It'd be good information to have. And now we have updated a little bit. It does look like Kalen's been registered as a D rider, which is interesting. As they do come through the top of the Watopia climb, we will get more information, it looks like, as that is the first checkpoint that we will be able to grab that from the riders. So this is the front end of the C's now with Garda. It does look like he has gotten about a 30-second gap over B. Frick, as well as Lincho here out of Portugal, trying to follow up in that WBR kit there, the World Bicycle Relief kit, the old one, not the one from the team, but the one that you get for doing that you got for doing the charity ride. It looks like. So hammering away, and for ride WBR, it looks like out there today. But it looks at the chase now is happening for cutters to try and get back with Garda, who is kicking up over the top here, 5.4 watts per kilogram. And I think we will just start to get an idea of what kind of watts per kilogram that Mr. Garda has been holding to this point in the race right now, as that'll be very helpful to see whether or not he'll be able to take the win today. BJ Alfonso now going to the front there in the BC category race here. Still off the back quite a bit, though, from the front end. Actually, I missed Ensalada, who did go off the front with Cherkis here. They actually caught Garda and went right on by him at one point. Graham there as well. So, excuse me, a few riders here that I missed as they were going through. Rugeron here now, 2.8, 2.9 watts per kilogram with Iji Pan getting away from those riders in the chase. So, definitely looks like it's going to be Colin, first-time racer perhaps, who is chasing up in the C category here, it looks like. And as well as Cherkis here does have a few races riding for that watts per kilogram team, actually, it says on his Zwift Power .com. 22 races coming out of the Ukraine, actually, 30 seconds back from these front runners in the C category. So Trick's going to have his work cut out for him to catch back up with the front end of this C race. So it is going to be Graham right out of Canada, with Rugan coming out of France here, leading things out right now in the C category. They're working fairly well together. It looks like Graham out of Canada and Rugan. Let's go ahead and get some background on these boys. Ed Graham, Canada, 28 races total, has taken a couple of wins actually out on Zwift back on the 28th, actually, just a few days ago, took the win in the PRS Project Race Series, as well as the EVR Europe race. Right on the edge there, a 3.22 there for Ed, actually, in the race on the 28th. So he is getting stronger and stronger from racing out on Zwift. It's taken a lot of W's, actually, in a lot of WBR flats, XCR, RXRSs, etc. So, but we do see watts per kilogram climbing and climbing. Definitely at the same weight all the way through. So definitely getting stronger through the racing that he's doing out on Zwift. So solid job there for Ed. Does look like he is just hanging on to Rugeron's wheel still as they make their way into the Essies. Mathieu Rugeron here out of France, 7 races on Zwift, newer to the world of Zwift racing, second placed on the 17th. It does look like he also got his second base race on the 15th, a second place, a win in the WBIR 4, and then on the 12th, the Primal Europe actually got a third place in the C category. So these two are definitely used to the podium in the C category races, and well, within category limits, it looks like mainly 3.11, 2.96, 3.01. So a lot of right on the edge, which is to be expected at the upper end of the C categories. All right, we do see some orange numbers being thrown down at the front end of the race as these boys of the A race here, as these boys do make their way exiting the Essies now with Jay McCormick as well as Faborowski and then Kalen. The three of these boys getting away a little bit on that final little climb through the Essies. There's a little 5% gradient, a little kicker for about 15 to 20 seconds can separate things up a little bit though, as you do see these boys do have about 1 second over Team Poland steer here. O'Malley, James just trying to get back on terms. Rungberg able to do so. Kane Sports looking comfy at the back here, getting pulled back into the group, but it does look like Ignaziak 104 back. So nobody that was in the main group now at this point has been dropped off just yet because of these attacks though. But the final climb over the Watopia Ford, it's about a 2 minute or even a little less climb at the pace these boys will be holding, is definitely going to be a race decider now at this point. It's probably going to be Grupo Compacto through the Ocean Boulevard and the underwater tunnel amongst these front runners now. So it looks like at the front end of the race, we can start talking a little bit about who these boys are. With Faborowski, a rider I'm not super familiar with, rides for Trisport Way. Actually, so has WAY in the name there. I'm not super familiar with that team as well. So a newer team out on Zwift as far as I know, but they are all, it looks like, coming out of Russia. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 riders on that team in that are all registered with SwiftPower.com. They do quite a few races, at least looks like 4 of their members do some good racing, or 5 members even. And have some solid results, actually, with Sergey Faborowski that we're currently looking at right at the front of the race right now, with WA way in the name here, being the best ranked rider amongst them in the top 77 percentile. 35 races out on Zwift, estimated FTP of 348 here. Had a win in the PRS Project Race Series, which is a very competitive series of races, actually. So got that win with 4.89 watts per kilogram. Sounds like he rode away from the group with that kind of watts per kilogram, because his other races, 3.81, 3.85, that was almost a personal best, it looks like, for the rider coming out of the Russian Federation there. So definitely a solid race for him. Engine Tour California ride on. He did on the 12th, got a 6th in that. That wasn't a race necessarily, but it got a result. And it looks like Coffee Espresso Hot Lap, I believe that's with Team ODZ, was the 7th place. 2nd place in the Trisport Way individual time trial. So it looks like Trisport Way is running their own events as well. That's good to see. and a lot of podiums all the way through March, actually. Every race that he did in March, he got a podium, actually, it looks like. So Sergey, definitely one to watch out for today, I think, in the race as they make their way onto Ocean Boulevard here. Still Grupo Compacto, no attacks yet so far. So rider I'm not super familiar with, was not on my radar, but I think he should be from now on with 35 races and that number going up. Looks like he started racing out on Zwift all the way back in May of 2016. Obviously, over the summer, took a little bit of break and jumped right back into October. And has been racing fairly consistently every month, actually, all the way through till now, actually, from October to now. So good to see that getting good use out of the program for Sergey there. So SZR now from Team Poland, hammering away too. And maybe another rider. I am familiar with Szerzynski, his teammate from Team Poland. Not super familiar, though, with SZR. So we're going to have to see where does the results lie for him out of Team Poland here. 9 races. So just getting into the world of Zwift racing, it looks like here for the guy, what is the first name here real quick? Mark Zier. 310 watt FTP, it sounds like. 9th place in Kiss America's 100. He likes to Kiss 100s, actually. That's very cool. A race I like to do a lot. Last time he raced, though, was on the 30th of April, so it's been about a month. And then on the 9th, did the Kiss 100 as well. And so maybe be watching out for this guy as the dark horse in this. Definitely has some endurance if he's able to get a 3rd place in the KISS 100 races here. 4.03 watts per kilogram for the duration of that race. That's insanity. Absolutely killer result there for him. It does look like he did a lot of racing back in what looks to be July of 2016. Took a break for a while, as I'm jumping back in a little bit here and there. But 9 races, out on Zwift. So maybe one of the wild cards here amongst the racers here with SZR. So back to, as these boys are figuring out amongst themselves the tactics in this Grupo Compacto, holding hands like moment out on course, we can get right back into the racing action with the front end of the C category. And as the B's and the A's are going to be working out the race amongst that front group with Ignatiak as well as Macaulay and Masio making the chase there into those categories. But this is the front end of the C and the D's that we are covering here with Rugran as well as Graham. The gap has not come down, and it looks like Ancelot is going to be battling it out for 3rd place here in this C category race with Cherkas, who is amongst the pack here still. So there's still a battle here for that 3rd place with Fitzpatrick, and then it looks like Garda here about 31 seconds back, sitting in about 5th with BJ Alfonso, it looks like, in that B category. Yadefelt and Person out of Sweden. Solid result rides there from them. But in the C category, Rugran and Graham are starting right away, and they're going to be waiting up for that moment to try to attack, I think, this group over the forward Watopia climb as they make their way through the hand-holding sections of Ocean Boulevard when it tends to get quite Grupo Compacto. So it looks like today we do have Allison Duck hanging out in the live stream. Good to see you. Live stream for the win. Evening all. What's going on, Termont? Good to see you. Miss my vortex. Good to see you, bro. PJ Alfonso with the a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek miss my vortex. Loving it. Absolutely loving the chatter there around that one. I think a lot of people, well, kind of, it's a win-lose type situation, right? So it's not always the best for gaining as much fitness as you can. At the same time, it does make you feel good. But I love the comment there very much so. So Rugran now with EG Pan. They're looking at them as they take their left-hand turn past the going past the windmills there. As you can see, a group of 5 now making their way toward the underground tunnel. But we are seeing a little bit of an attack, maybe not an attack, but definitely a solid pull at the front here from Team Poland from the A category, as it looks like SZR and Faborovsky now willing to do the brunt of the work in this SZR Summer Race Series. today. So it does look like Kalen then following closely. McCormick there, James Timmis, 139 beats per minute, definitely waiting up for the attack over the top of the climb. I think Timmis is definitely one to be watching out for. This is Adrian Timmis. That's why from ex-pro Tour de France rider. That's why he has that verified badge if you're unfamiliar with that. And Adrian does a lot of racing out on Zwift. We do have 52 races for him out of the United Kingdom here. Zada approved, so sometimes if you're wondering about the power that's being put out by some of the riders, you can register with Zada if you do over 5 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race. Or I think there's also like maybe if you've done so in real life as well and you just want to double check, like, hey, I've produced over 5 watts per kilogram in real life, here's my files, I think there is an acceptance of that as well. It's like, I'm going to start racing, this might happen, but they do tag you if you've done over 5 watts per kilogram in game, disqualify you momentarily until you can prove those. So Timmis does have the Zada badge approval, saying that he is able to produce the numbers that he puts into the game. It looks like back on the 30th here, he did take a 3rd place in the KISS Europe race, so that is just yesterday. Hammering away in that KISS Europe race with a 3rd place, and it looks like that was up against Webb and Burton, as well as Gavin Richardson and Joachim Ploesmers. Actually, that was almost like a pre-CVR race showdown out there yesterday. So now Timmis jumping in again, trying to get a little bit more form, it looks like, before the big event next week, Tuesday, over in London. So looks like then Timmis then, I mean, he has been racing a lot this month. I'm seeing, as far as just for the month of May, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm seeing like 20 races maybe for the month of May out on Zwift. Some killer efforts. His best for this month was a 5.11 watts per kilogram in the ZHR up and down race, actually. So definitely some huge efforts here coming from this man to try and it looks like get peaked out for shape. Maybe time for a little bit of rest before we actually jump into the racing next week, Tuesday, as it looks like a solid build that he's been doing for the last couple of weeks here. So now they're heading into the final climb that really is going to have any kind of extended uphill battle between the riders here. And it does look like MZR now making his way to the front here, 5.9 watts per kilogram, as Faborowski as well as Runberg then is following very closely. Now the watts per kilogram are starting to jump as we're seeing the attacks coming. Runberg there, Kane Sports are now 10 watts per kilogram, charging his way to the front of this pack, backing off now just a little bit. Is he going to save something for the upper end of the climb? If you give too much on the front end of it, a lot of times you can pay for it as soon as it takes the left-hand turn and levels out a little bit. That second half is really where this is won. It can be won right off the bat here on this climb, as if you just got the watts to kick and get away immediately, they will never see you again if you can hold steady. But if you give too much on the front end here and people have the ability to continue to climb at 6, 7, 8 watts per kilogram and you are just hanging out at that 4.0, 5.0 or so, they will drop you so quickly. And if so, too much energy on the front end of this climb can really be paid for in huge amounts of time losses. So now Faborowski, now Sergey making his way to the front here, 6.3 watts per kilogram, with Cadence now following very closely. We do have Runberg dropped off just a little bit, about 1 second, but he is hanging out with O'Malley, who is working his way to the front pretty quickly here. Hanging on to O'Malley's wheel. He will still be involved. Kalen now following from the KRT. It looks like he was waiting to this moment to pounce, perhaps. Very dangerous game to be playing, though, in the climb over the top of the Watopia forward, because if anybody kicks at the end of it and you don't have that draft, as drafting does not matter quite as much out on the climb here, they can get away from you and continue right on without you having any kind of a draft. So Kalen had to close that down immediately in order to hang on and be a part of this group. Looks like James did fall off the back here on that initial climb, was at limit, so we're going to go ahead and give him a ride on as he tries to make his way to the finish line. Kalen now hanging on. We do see that the group is strung out at this point, being led out by Faborowski from Tri-Way here now. So Faborowski Faborowski, Timmis, McCormick, Sear, Runberg. It looks like Kalen now 2 seconds back. Is he going to grab back onto that wheel? Now 173 beats per minute. This is a dangerous moment for him. 13 meters, has to close it now as we're seeing McCormick seeing that somebody that's a danger is off the back here, pushing the watts from that Bolt Racing team, one we haven't talked about much yet today. BRT team, always a threat in these races today. So McCormick, let's see where things have been at for him in the last few races. Is he going to be a threat today? That's the question as they make their way around. Jay McCormick, BRT team here, has put out 4.2 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race. Everybody's right over 4.0, but it looks like Timmis has been really smart about his efforts, sitting at 4.0 exactly. The rest of them above him in this lead group. It looks like James McCormick, 21 races, United Kingdom here, 311 watts. FTP is the estimated FTP coming for him from this profile. Took a fourth on the 30th just 2 days ago. Solid race in the Kiss Americas, and then the ZHR up and down, a win, as well as the WBR flat and the Team Italy Gladiators race. That's all this month with podium. So definitely be watching out for McCormick. He took all podiums except for one time in the Kiss Americas this month, actually. But the Kiss Americas got a fourth place, definitely a little bit more contested race than the other ones that he was jumping into. So let's see if he can throw down amongst the talents that we are seeing here at the front end, as there are some very strong very strong guys at the front end here with Kalen Faborowski, as well as Caden Sports, Adrian Timmis to be watching out for. See if he can grab another podium spot, though, to round out the month of May for him on this final day on the 31st of May 2017. As they're making their way down here, I don't think we're going to see too many more attacks. We're going to jump right back into the C and D category race here, as we do see Rugran here leading things out with Graham. It looks like he was able to get away from Graham on this climb, as Graham tries to chase him back down. 2.4 watts per kilogram. Rugran with this solid attack, 164 beats per minute, up into that 4.3 watts per kilogram. As you see him over threshold, which is going to be right around that 3.2 watts per kilogram or so, 166 beats per minute. Nordstrom then being reeled back in by Rugran, maybe 5.3 watts per kilogram from the SZ team here, as well as Masio and then McCauley. These guys aren't too far back, actually, from the front end of the race. Really solid effort all around here. Trigus now holding down that third place here still in that C category. Solid effort here coming from him. Now going back to the front end of the race, though, we can see that it is going to be in the B category. That's my next question. What is going on there as they make their way around the course here? We do have E.G. Pond as well as Nordstrom, and then it's going to be Colin here rounding out the top three in that B category. So definitely the front end of the B's and the C's are all together there, with Penn just a little ways up from Graham, as well as Garda and Rugran, who are battling it out at the front end of that race. But now we're back with the front end with the A's. They are coming into their final K here. It is a 18.5 mile race, or 29.8K, so they do have about 2.5 miles to go or so. So solid effort here coming from them. And it looks like heading on over to the Zwift Community Live feed. No questions or comments, but if you do have any, make sure to bring them our way, as we love to answer any questions you might have about the racing. And Termont saying, me too, to Alfonso on the Vortex. Miss my free watts. Nathan, you coming to London as well. I must not be doing a very good job about talking about my involvement or the getting out there. Excuse me, sorry about that, but I am definitely will be in London. The talents should be announced, I believe. We'll have to get on making that happen as soon as possible. Yes, I will definitely be in London commentating on the CVR World Cup race for sure. So Lindsay and I, I'm not sure there'd be any way that Lindsay would be that I'd be going and she we going to London and she would not, or vice versa. So yeah, definitely going to be on our way over there, leaving Sunday night after the race here locally. So thanks for asking, appreciate it very much, Termont. And Are you going to be there, Termont? Who's all going to be at the CVR event? That's the question for sure. Out there today. So we are seeing, can pro riders join these races? Enzo is saying. Anybody coming over from the Facebook there, Enzo Valentine asking a question. Can pro riders join these races? I race these all the time, and I race professionally. Yes, they definitely can. We do see them once in a while jumping in for sure. We have had some World Tour level pros jump into the races, as well as ex-pros, as you see Adrian Timis there, former Tour de France rider. So any professional rider can jump in. Any rider that has a Zwift account can jump into these races and these events. They are not anything special that you have to get special permission to do, as long as you are a Zwift subscriber and or on trial account and you want to jump into a race. You just go ahead and on your Zwift mobile link, you can join the event through there by going through the mobile link, finding the events, and then clicking on your correct category for the event as you join it, or as you log into the game on the right hand side where it shows all the riders in front of you, as well as what course or workout you want to do. Go ahead and click on the events on the right-hand side, find a race, and find your correct category. For category rules and all that kind of stuff for the race, it's always good to check out zwiftpower.com or zwift.com/events for all of the information about it. Make sure to do the read-through, as you might not get the result you wanted if you didn't follow the instructions. So looks like a little bit of attack here in going into the Essies. Was able to put Zier on notice, as well as Runberg, who's a little ways off the back now, but it looks like Sergey here now 3.7, Kalen as well, Caden Sports there, McCormick's here, all still together. We may have a sprint finish here on the Watopia Figure 8 course as they are making their way to the line. Looks like Enzo with another comment here coming through. And okay, thanks. No problem. Appreciate the question there, Enzo. And hope to see you out there racing, riding, or doing a workout out on Zwift soon. So McCormick here now from the BRT, one to watch out for. A lot of these riders here, though, I think they're all kind of watch out for. I think Runberg may be the only rider that we didn't do a background on. The rest of these riders have a lot of podiums underneath their belt in the last few days. So it does look like Runberg from the SZ team here. Let's go ahead and open up the past results for him as the final profile that we'll do here. 38 races coming out of Sweden. Looks like a great cyclocross picture there for a Strava profile. Mr. Rickard Runberg has a 6th, a 4th, a 6th, a 12th, a 4th, a 17th. Took some solid results there in the Z-Taz race, though, back in April. But no podiums for the month of May. Let's see if he can change that up as they make their way to the line. Sitting on the back, though, of the group here. And there are no power-ups. There are no TT bikes in this race, so it isn't going to be about the RNG, the random numbers game. It's not going to be about luck. It's going to be about how many watts you can throw down into those pedals as you make your way to the line today. And it is going to be Zier here leading things out. 14 pulling on that Tron bike. Do see a few more Tron bikes chasing things down here right behind him here. Runberg now positioning himself well, 4.1 watts per kilogram. A little bit of a gap to Zier, but I don't think they're going to be too worried about that. It's going to be all about the kick, unless Zier has a lot of kick while he has 179 beats per minute, though, coming from the from that heart. So it's going to be maybe difficult to make that kick. Kane's now, it looks like this is going to be the moment right here that we're going to see the jump most likely. Who's going to go first, though, is going to be the question. It's usually as soon as it flattens out, but they're all being very patient. Here comes Caden Sports, though. Adrian Timis there, 13 watts per kilogram. We were saying it, the one to watch out for. 18, though, for McCormick. What are you talking about? McCormick has the sprint of the lifetime here. That is the winning move there. The BRT rider, definitely a sprinter out on course here today with 20 watts per kilogram. It's up into the 1600 watts there for a moment. What an effort there from McCormick. Full on sprinter style there. Sat in, waited for the moment, and then jumped right at the line, nipping Adrian Timis there for the 1-2. We'll have to wait for the official. I just saw McCormick first, Timis second, and then from there, we'll have to wait for the rest of the results. What an effort there from the riders, though. Huge wattage there coming from McCormick. Absolutely killing it. So back with the riders here, though, in the C and D categories. They make their way to the line only a little ways back from the front end of the A and B race. It does look like E.G. Pan is here right along with Rugran. This is going to be the battle to the line for that B category win for Nordstrom, I think, is leading things out currently in that B category. James was there actually all the way through with solid 3.8 watts per kilogram, so within limits actually. So James is actually leading things out for the Bs, and then it will be yep, it definitely will be Nordstrom. The next one out on course, holding down that second place for the B, followed by E.G. Pan, who's battling out with Rugran here in that C category race as well. For the C categories, though, Rugran here, 3.5 watts per kilogram, will be getting that upgrade. So Graham, right on the edge there with 3.2, could take the official win, and he is just 105 back from the rest of the riders. As we're waiting for them to make their way to the line, McCormick, along with Adrian Timmis and Greg O'Malley, that was your top three in that A category sprint. Sergei Faborowski, Tom O'Kalan, Rickard Rumberg, and then Mark Zier was the rounding out of those 7 riders that were a part of that sprint. So solid racing all around for them, but it will be McCormick with that win, Adrian Timmis, then Greg O'Malley. That's your top 3 today in the A category. So we are watching the finish here for the front end of the C category. We do see Graham here with an attack at 7 watts per kilogram, trying to close some things down or get away from some of the other riders around him, it looks like, as he makes his way to the line. Colin there as well. That's the battle, actually, I think, between those riders in that C and B category, as Colin there trying to close the gap down to Graham, who is probably going to be the official winner for the C category, as Rugran is definitely going to be getting an A category upgrade out of France there with that 3.5 watts per kilogram. Anywhere between 3.2 and 4.0 is a B category rider, so he is battling it out then with E.G. Pan, and that's actually a good thing, as that is within the category and within the abilities that they have. Definitely going to be getting the best workout by battling out amongst each other. Colin with another kick, 8 watts per kilogram, 187 beats per minute here, boys and girls. Absolutely killing himself to try and close this gap or get away from Ensalada, actually, I think, is the main thing on his mind, as Ensalada there, 2.8 watts per kilogram from the C category, is only 7 seconds behind Graham, Rugran, and Eggpan then as well, making their way to the line. Will be Nordstrom, it looks like here, unable to close the gap to Lakomsky, and it will then be Les James then has taken the win, though, in this B category today. James there, no races, is that right? No, we do have a few races, past races. Did take yesterday XRS, 29th XRS, 27th XRS. This guy's been racing XRS like crazy just since this month, actually. He just started racing in the last 11 days. Welcome to the world of racing here, Les James, in this B category. Great to see you. And nice job out there today, taking the W in the B category. Nordstrom battling it out to the line there. Nice job to him for that second place. Looks like Rugran now with a sprint with Eggpan out of China. Will Rugran be able to hold it out? Looks like the Frenchman unable to do so, as Pan is going to be able to nip him at the line for that next spot. But it will be Rugran with third place in the B category, actually, I believe. Excuse me, fourth place in that B category today, I believe, as he will be getting that upgrade. We are looking around for Graham, as he'll be making his way to the line in the C category. It looks like a solid effort for him, able to hold off Colin as well as Ensalada. Those boys have been battling out a little bit here now as well. They've actually been battling out for a while here, but it looks like it will be Colin over Ensalada. I am familiar with that name, but I don't have any past results for him in the ZwiftPower.com, so perhaps a different Ensalada there, but solid result for him nonetheless with that second place in the C category today. Colin trying to chase him down. B category rider takes a what looks to be fourth place in the B category if he holds on to this position. Looks like he will be able to do so. Graham now with one little final kick to the line here out of Canada, as Collins now trying to chase it down, but with 8 seconds and not a lot of landscape, it's not going to happen. As Graham goes across the line. Ensalada with one last kick here to the line, 13 watts per kilogram, a little bit of show. No heart rate monitor, though. but it doesn't matter as he will be crossing the line in C category with a solid effort now. PTZ, BJ Alfonso here with the kick to the line, getting the better at Pearson here at the line. Nice little kick there into that 12 or so watts per kilogram, able to create a gap and then stroll in, it looks like, ahead of Person from Sweden here. So BJ Alfonso for that PTZ team, solid effort all around. Turgis now from the C category here, able to get away, it looks like, from E. Mr. Brett E here from Team ODZ. Next one across the line, followed by Jagerfeld, and it will be Garda that we've been talking about quite a bit, actually. Let's see if they're able to, who's going to get this sprint here to the line in this last few meters. Who's going to kick first? Looks like Garda's got a kick as he opens it up into about 600 watts out of Latvia here with 8 races. Had a win back in the 12th of April. Hasn't raced for a while, actually. So good to see him back out on course. We'll give him a ride on. 6.2 watts per kilogram. Solid effort here coming from Mr. Kaspar's Garda. Gets the better of Jadefelt out of Sweden there. But solid effort from him as well in that B category. Still a top 10 today. And so it looks like that is going to be the finishing up there of that C category racing today, as they have made their way to the line. I'm going to go ahead and go through here, see if we can find a few others. It does look like Cutter's here now, making his way to the line just a little bit ahead of Gray. We'll go ahead and see how things are going to turn out in that D category, though, as we wait for a few more of the riders to make their way. It looks like Patrick Fitzpatrick from Team Audi is going to be crossing the line here, 37 seconds up from Frick right now. Nice job to them. And in that D category, then, we're going to find a few of the names. But Frick now just about to cross the line. Oh, we lost Gray there for a second. See if we can get back to him as they make their ways around the course. For the women today, it will be A. Smith. First one across the line as she is leading out the women's category. The D rider, Jay Lincho, quite a ways ahead there. It looks like of B. Schneider, about 40 seconds up from B. Schneider. So solid result there coming in for Lincho as well as Schneider. And then Pluck, who looks like maybe it pulled out of the race, though. Pluck, we'll have to see. No, it's still going around 22.6K in still. So about another 5K to go for them. So solid results all around for those riders. So let's go ahead and take a look real quick here then at the results. For the A category, James McCormick, we said Adrian Timmis and Greg O'Malley. That's your top 3. B category will be Steve Nordstrom, followed by Egg Pond, and then it will be Paul Collins. Solid results for them. C category, Mathayu Rogran, 3.6 watts per kilogram, continue to go out throughout the race. Will definitely get an upgrade. So perhaps be given the B category upgrade and actually take that 3rd place from Colin out on course. But it will be then Ed Graham, 3.1 watts per kilogram. Solid result there in that C category, followed by Adam Ansalata and then Sergey Cherkas for that top 3. Kaspers rounding out the top 4 there in that C category. Nice job with that sprint at the end with Sean Fitzpatrick there as well in the top 5 in the C's. BJ Alfonso, nice job to him, mentioning after that nice sprint between him and Person to the line there for that 4th place, and then Matthias Person for 5th place out on course in that B category. Again, Lincho will be taking the win in the D category, followed by Schneider, and then D Pluck most likely. So, and then amongst the women, it will be A. Smith. Nice job getting out there and hammering. Real quick here, we're going to check the comments, see if we missed anything throughout this. Get ready for tomorrow night. Okay, sounds good, Kyle Augustin. Good to see you, and we will definitely be here to cover that race tomorrow night. I'm assuming you're talking about the KISS, or are we talking about XRS? We're going to try and get on both of the coverages there leading into the World Cup for sure, as there's going to be a lot of hype around that building up. Heading on over to the Twitch channel as well. What is happening over there for the chatter? See if we've got anybody. Whoa, that sprint. Termont, good to see you hanging out. So again, we got over the race results, but those were preliminary. Head on over to zwiftpower.com for your results. They should be updated within the 24 hours for official results. If you have not done so already, make sure to hit that follow button on any platform that you are viewing on that you enjoy the most. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, as well as Mixer and YouTube, all simultaneously. So you can do any of those places for your viewing of anything on Zwift Community Live. Coming up next, we will have tomorrow morning Racer Focus with Ian Anderson. We do have a cool little events page actually over on Twitch that you can check out. Does list a full schedule of all of the events coming up all the way through the CVR World Cup. We will have more events being added very soon. Had a great, there's a lot coming down the line, you guys, and we're super excited for everything that we're going to be producing for you in a super awesome, high quality broadcast. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Congratulations to all the riders as always. And as always, ride on.